A woman called 911 and said her boyfriend was dead. Actually, she told the police that it was during a game of hide and seek. But when detectives checked her phone, they found videos of him begging to be let out. This is the case of Sarah Boone. On February 24th, 2020, police were called to an apartment in Winter Park, Florida. The caller was Sarah Boone. Inside the apartment, officers found her boyfriend Jorge Torres Jr. dead. At first, Sarah's explanation sounded strange, but not impossible. She said that the night before, she and Jorge had been drinking wine. She said they were laughing like a normal couple. And she said they started to playing hide and seek inside the apartment. According to Sarah, Jorge got inside a suitcase. Sarah said she zipped it closed. She claimed they were both joking, and then she said she went upstairs, passed out, and fell asleep. The next morning, she came downstairs and found Jorge still inside the suitcase, but by then he was not moving. That was Sarah's version, but this is where the story starts falling apart. Jorge was not a child, he was a 42-year-old man, obviously, and so the first question is obvious. How does a grown man end up zipped inside a suitcase and stay there all night? Sarah said she thought Jorge could get himself out, and she said she didn't know he was in real danger. She said she never meant for him to die. But in true crime, the first version of the story is not always the final version. Detectives don't just listen to what someone says, they check what the evidence can prove. And in this case, the most important evidence was not found on the floor, it was not found in another room, and it was found on Sarah Boone's own phone. And that one detail changed everything. Sarah gave investigators permission to look through her phone, and inside that phone, police found videos from the night before. Videos Sarah had recorded herself. Those videos, Jorge was still alive and he could be heard calling Sarah's name. And he was asking to be let out and he was saying he couldn't breathe at all. And Sarah was not asleep, she was awake. She was there and she was filming. That is the moment this case stopped sounding like an accident. Because after Sarah had zipped the suitcase, gone upstairs and passed out, and also had no idea what was happening, that would be one story. But the videos showed something completely different, and she knew that Jorge was inside the suitcase, and the videos showed that she heard him struggling, and the video showed that she still did not open the suitcase, and the phone became the witness, and that witness was devastating. At this point, the case was no longer just about the suitcase, and it became a digital evidence case. And Sarah had a story, but her phone had timeline, and timeline matters here. Because according to Sarah, it was just a drunken mistake, while on the other hand, according to the evidence, Jorge was alive and he was asking for help, while she was close enough to hear him struggling, begging for help. And I think this is why prosecutors argued that it is not only a tragic accident, and they argued that it was a choice. It was a choice to leave him there, it was a choice not to open the suitcase, and it was a choice that ended with Jorge Torres' death. But every true crime case has two sides in the court, and Sarah Boone had a defense. At trial, Sarah Boone's defense did not simply say I forgot. Actually, her defense argued that her relationship with Jorge had a history of domestic violence, and it is weird because she claimed she had been abused. She claimed she was afraid, and her defense argued that her actions had a connection to her trauma and the history of the relationship. And that part matters because a courtroom is not a comment section. Well, the jury had to hear both sides. They had to hear Sarah's explanation, they had to hear the defense argument, and they had to consider the relationship, the drinking, the history, and the night itself. But then the prosecution brought the case back to one thing: the videos. Because no matter how Sarah explained the night later, the jury could hear Jorge was asking for help, and they could see that she did not open the suitcase. The case took years to reach trial. Sarah Boone went through multiple attorneys. The legal process was delayed again and again. But in 2024, the case finally went before a jury. The prosecution argued that Sarah zipped Jorge inside the suitcase, heard him pleading, and still left him there. The defense argued that Sarah was not a cold-blooded killer, but someone reacting from fear and trauma. So the jury had only one question to answer, and was it a self-defense? Was it a tragic accident, or was it a murder? After hearing the evidence, the jury found Sarah Boone guilty of a second-degree murder. And after 2024, she was sentenced to life in the prison. And what makes this case so disturbing is not only the suitcase, actually it is the difference between Sarah's explanation and her evidence. She said it was high and sick. She said she fell asleep, and she said she thought he could get out, but her phone told a different story. Sarah Boone said it was a game. The jury called it murder. So if you want more real cases told like this, welcome to Miss Homicide.